Hey guys, this is Tracy. Putting together a video on a greenhouse build that I did a couple years ago. And I didn't record the video as I was building it because I didn't have a YouTube channel at that time and didn't know that I was going to be putting one together. But I did take a lot of still pictures. I think I took enough that we can piece together how I built it. And the reason I'm doing this video is because whenever I started building my greenhouse, I've never built one. I built this one from scratch, no plans or anything. And I went to YouTube and watched a bunch of videos on what people were doing for greenhouses. I wanted to get into gardening, and that's going to be a video in and of itself. I've made progress on my gardening, but man, do I have a long ways to go. But anyway, I went to YouTube and just watched tons of videos, so much that my wife got tired of looking at them, and she said, "You just need to go build something," and I did. And I thought that I would put together a video. It's going to be pictures, and I'm going to be voiceover explaining what all we did, or what all I did to build it. And anyway, let me switch around here and I'll show you what we did. So this is the greenhouse and my little fenced-in garden, raised beds, because we have a bunch of deer and animals, wildlife that gets into it. So put up a fence this year, and it worked quite well. But whenever I leave the house, the back of the house, and come around, we walk through the little fire pit area and then into the greenhouse area. I'll show you the little garden area. Every year I've been trying to put 2 or 3 more beds in, and so it's worked out quite well. It's a slow go, but it's worked out quite well. But anyway, this is the greenhouse I built. So we'll stop this video and I'm going to start the slideshow on the actual construction of it. Now, there are some things that I would change about it, and I'll probably put that in a separate video, because it's worth noting some considerations that I didn't really think about whenever I was building it, and I'm going to have to put together a plan probably to correct some of it. But anyway, I hope you enjoy it. If you got any questions, leave some comments. If you built a greenhouse, take a picture of it, put it in the comments, and let other people see, because I'm a big proponent of growing your own food and getting out. I've waited way too long in life to start gardening. But anyway, I hope you enjoy it. So got started clearing the land early 2020. The earliest picture I had was in April. Our land was 100% forested whenever we bought it, so I had to clear out enough land to get a garden in, among some other things. And I started clearing by hand. I cleared actually 27 or 28 stumps by hand. And the way I went about it was took anything that I could cut, the root leaders, the big roots that come off the stumps, put a come-along chain on them, put tension on them, cut the roots, and then just kept pulling, and then finally they gave up. So finally got the foundation laid out in late 2020, and this was the time that the lumber prices just went through the roof, so I've decided to go with the Quikrete pillars, Quikrete, and instead of just driving the treated post into the ground. Started with a high point, got my first corner laid, and then went to the next corner and laid out, just make sure everything was good and level. Put J-bolts into each of the corners, and I had to take my time. I've never done this type of construction, so it took me a little time to get everything laid out. I wanted to make sure everything was good and square. I put 4x6 treated post across the concrete pillars, and then also put supports on each of the foundation legs there halfway through, so you're not spanning too far with it. Then J-bolted all the corners in, made sure everything was good and tight and level, and there you can see that I started filling up the crawl space, if you will, with gravel, the flooring. Had a humongous eastern hemlock that I hired a stump removal to come in and do that. Once I got the foundation laid out and squared up, I started with the framing. The framing is just typical framing like you would a storage building, 2x4s, 16-inch on centers. I build everything on 16-inch. And then here I left the floor as gravel. On that far end that you're looking at is probably 2.5 feet. Yeah, it's probably 2.5 feet thick. I left gravel because if I ever have to do repair to it, I can just shovel the gravel out and then do my repairs to the foundation or walls or anything, and then just shovel the gravel right back in. After the walls were up, I started on the roof. I had to build my ridge line there, and I didn't have a 2x6 or 2x8 to reach all the way through. The roof pretty much standard, especially on the north side, 16-inch centers. I had some tongue and groove boards left over from a prior project that I buttoned up the gables there. OSB on the for the sheeting, and then there it is, the OSB for the sheeting. The T111 for the siding. I went ahead and put the north side on it there, and then the opening was for glass. Now my glass, I was able to find the glass. I didn't have to pay for my glass. That was a big savings. I just created a frame inside of the roof rafters, and then I would lay my glass over top of that you're looking at, and then create another frame on top of that to hold everything in, to hold the glass in. And it's worked out really well. Everything's caulked well, and I do have to keep tabs on the caulk, make sure no cracks appear or anything in there. You can see it in. Just installed a simple shingle roof to match the house. You can see some of the windows going in. The roof's finished there. The T111 and the windows are going in on the front. The windows for the walls went in the same way as the roof. Created a frame, set the windows in, then created a frame to match it on the back side, and everything went in. I put some rubber underneath the windows just to give them a little cushion. And you can see there's the inside framed up. This particular wall is the west side, finished up there. That's the north side with the door. And I painted everything before I put the windows in. It's a custom door that I built to fit the opening. The inside is tongue and groove. I insulated all the walls, the ceiling. I still have the gables to do at this particular time. My shelving are these adjustable wire shelving. I wanted something flexible to, to meet up. I don't know what's going to be happening in the future. There's the ceiling look of it with collar ties and an exhaust fan. I did run electricity over to it. I currently have one water barrel. I collect off just a simple guttering system there with dropping straight down into the barrel. I didn't connect the barrel because I wanted to be able to, in the wintertime, just drain the barrel, turn it over for the winter, and then be able to install it back in ready for the spring. So that's it. That's my greenhouse. Like I said, at the start of this video, there's some things that I would change on it if I were to start from scratch again. And I'll make a video on that because I think it's well worth noting, especially if you're thinking about building one. But hope you enjoyed it. Leave some comments. Like I said, if you've built one or used one, take a picture of it and put it in the comments so that others can see it. Thanks for stopping in and watching the video. Please leave a comment, and please consider subscribing. It helps me out greatly.